Lewis Hamilton's stunning sixth-place finish at the 2025 Italian Grand Prix in Monza has flipped the Formula One world upside down. From starting 10th on the grid with a penalty to carving through the pack in front of the roaring Tifosi, Hamilton delivered a masterclass that silenced even his fiercest critic, Nico Rosberg. The former rival, known for dissecting Hamilton's every move, was left absolutely speechless. Could this be the turning point for Hamilton's Ferrari journey? From the moment the weekend began, the odds were stacked against Hamilton. He was starting from 10th on the grid, carrying a penalty that could have killed his race before it began. For many drivers, that would have meant damage control and a quiet afternoon. But Hamilton is not just any driver. His start was electric, threading his scarlet Ferrari through traffic with a mix of razor-sharp judgment and sheer instinct. Every lap built momentum. This was not a cautious recovery drive, it was a statement. The same car that had felt like a stranger to him earlier in the season suddenly looked like an extension of his body. By the time the checkered flag waved, Hamilton had climbed to 6th place. On paper, a 6th place finish might look modest, but context changes everything. This was Monza, the home of Ferrari, a racetrack that is more like a cathedral than a circuit. The passion of the Tifosi, the sea of red flags, the roars echoing through every corner, can either lift a driver to new heights or crush him under unbearable expectation. For Hamilton, it was the former. He admitted afterward that every cheer felt like an extra burst of horsepower, that the energy of the crowd gave him goosebumps like nothing he had ever felt before. It was as though the fans themselves were propelling him forward. Watching from the sidelines, Nico Rosberg was stunned. The same Rosberg who had spent years dissecting Hamilton's flaws, pointing out cracks in his armor, questioning his focus, suddenly found himself with nothing to criticize. He had to admit that what he had witnessed was a performance beyond his expectations. For the first time in a long time, he offered not skepticism, but admiration. Rosberg's respect was reluctant, but it was real. What impressed him wasn't simply the finishing position, but the manner in which Hamilton carried himself across the entire race weekend. He saw composure, strategy, resilience, and an ability to turn crushing pressure into fuel. He even compared it to the way Nigel Mansell once fed off the roar of the crowd, elevating himself when it mattered most. Coming from Rosberg, who has so often painted Hamilton as fragile under pressure, this was extraordinary praise. But behind the scenes at Maranello, a different story was unfolding. Ferrari's engineers had been analyzing data, searching for answers to a mystery that had puzzled them all season. Why did Hamilton, one of the smoothest and most instinctive drivers in Formula One history, sometimes look uncomfortable in the car? The truth they uncovered was both fascinating and alarming. The problem lay in the DNA of the Ferrari SF5. For his entire career, Hamilton has thrived on flow. His style is about carrying momentum, massaging the car through corners, dancing with it as though it were an extension of his body. He trusts rhythm, balance, and a seamless connection between driver and machine. The SF25, however, is a very different animal. It demands aggression. It requires sharp, late-braking inputs, a nose thrown into corners, and bursts of throttle to snap it back into line. That style perfectly suits Charles Leclerc. But for Hamilton, it feels alien. Side-by-side telemetry told the story. Leclerc could impose himself on the car, wrestling it with aggression and bending it to his will. Hamilton, by contrast, was forced into compromises. Extra pressure on the brakes, throttle hesitations where normally there would be fluidity, constant micro-adjustments at the wheel. Instead of commanding the car, he was containing it. It was subtle to outside eyes, but inside Maranello, the engineers knew it was fundamental. For Hamilton, this mismatch was deeply frustrating. He admitted that at times the car felt like it was fighting him rather than flowing with him. Adaptation could get him into the points, as he proved at Monza, but adaptation alone would never deliver podiums, let alone championships. For a driver who built his career on instinct and rhythm, being forced to rewire the very essence of his style was like asking a musician to play out of tune. The season had already shown the extremes of this struggle. At Hungary and Spa, Hamilton was left humiliated, lapped, and questioning whether this new chapter with Ferrari was destined to fail. But then came Monza, a resurgence that showed even in a car that didn't suit him, he could still fight with the very best. That contrast captured the volatility of his 2025 campaign. Despair one week, elation the next. Through it all, the one constant has been the Tifosi. Their devotion has filled the void left by the alien car beneath him. Hamilton has spoken openly about the goosebumps he felt leaving the garage at Monza, about the endless waves of red flags in the stands, about how this wasn't just support, it was devotion. For a man who has been cheered at Silverstone and revered worldwide, the connection with the Tifosi was something unique. Even if the machine doesn't yet feel like his own, the people do, and that has given him strength. Team boss Fred Vasseur has acknowledged both the problem and the opportunity. He has admitted that Hamilton has surprised him, not just with his resilience after difficult weekends, but with how quickly he has forged a bond with the fans. But Vasseur also knows the stakes. He has been clear, a podium in 2025 is not optional, it is expected. Ferrari's reputation demands it, and the Tifosi will accept nothing less. That means Ferrari must do more than offer words of encouragement. They must stop hesitating on strategy, as they did with the missed undercut on George Russell at Monza. They must stop expecting Hamilton to endlessly adapt to a car designed for someone else. To unlock podiums and titles, they must build a machine that allows him to use his natural style. Ironically, the shocking discovery of this driving style mismatch may be the very thing that saves Ferrari. By identifying the problem now, they have time to prevent it from carrying over into 2026. With the upcoming regulation changes, they have a blank sheet of paper, a chance to design a car that doesn't force Hamilton into compromise, but instead unleashes his true potential. If they succeed, they will not only honor Leclerc's aggressive strengths, but also give Hamilton the flow he thrives on. The result could be a partnership capable of fighting for championships on equal terms. For Hamilton, the revelation is bittersweet. He knows he is not yet showing his best, but he also knows that even in this compromised state, he is still climbing, still fighting, still proving himself. And that should terrify the competition, because if he can drag an alien-feeling car into the top 6, imagine what he will do once Ferrari finally gives him a machine that feels like home. The 2025 Italian Grand Prix didn't hand Lewis Hamilton a podium, but it gave him, and Ferrari, something far more valuable: belief. Belief that the SF25 can respond to him. Belief that Ferrari can execute under pressure. Belief that he, even after setbacks, can bend the story of a weekend to his will. For the Tifosi, it was validation that the dream of Hamilton in red isn't just marketing, it's reality. Unfolding lap by lap. And perhaps the most telling moment of all was not on the track, but off it. The rare silence of Nico Rosberg, a man who has made a career out of criticizing Hamilton, was proof that this performance was undeniable. It was respect earned not through words, but through relentless laps in the heart of Ferrari territory. For Ferrari, the future hangs on balance and vision. If this is what Lewis Hamilton can achieve in a car that feels wrong, imagine the storm he'll unleash when it finally feels right. Don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow F1 fans, and subscribe for more breaking stories from the heart of Formula One. Thanks for watching.